Salary discussion. One of the things I think most candidates dread in any recruitment process. How do you approach it and what do you say? So I'm going to look at a few things around that today. The first one comes from a question posed to me by a candidate in the last week. And she wanted to know, when she sends a CV through to new roles, does she disclose salary right up front? So the rule of thumb would be no, you don't. What you want to do is you want to submit your CV or your resume. And then once there is some interest from the recruiter, internal recruiters, the potential hiring manager, and they start requesting CV, but there has been a bit of a to and a fro, further information requested, and clearly they are interested in you for the role, at that point, you can with more confidence disclose your salary. You don't want it to go in there right up front. Of course, having said that, there are some cases where you might not have the choice, that if you do not submit your CV via the large corporate applicant tracking system or via some of the recruitment agencies' applicant tracking systems, they would not even take it further. And so in those cases, you are going to need to make the call that you will disclose it up front, and it is what it is. Remember, when anyone, employers, hiring managers, recruiters are asking you about salary, what they are really wanting to do is to establish whether you are in the ballpark for the specific role that's being recruited for. If you are much lower in salary, it would in most cases indicate that you are not at the level of seniority and experience required for the role, and would then be not a good fit. And there are unique cases, very few of them that I've come across in all of my 20 years of headhunting, where people are grossly underpaid for the level of work that they do. It does exist. And in those cases, from a headhunting perspective, we would actually handle it with an expected salary as opposed to a current salary. But in the majority of cases, people are a little bit higher or a little bit lower than the medium. The other side of this coin is that if someone is at a much higher salary than what the maximum is that is on offer, that is a big flight risk for a potential employer. The perceived issue there would be that even when someone comes on board, they might either want to have a salary increase within their first 3 months of employment, or otherwise they are going to be coming on board, taking this position just to get the bills paid, but really with one foot out the door from day one. As soon as they get a role that pays them something that is more in keeping with what they were earning previously, they're going to leave. And that is not just financially a big cost for an employer, but there's also the team morale, the effort of needing to go through that whole recruitment process again. So it makes it quite difficult for them. And so in all my years, I have found that it's quite rare that employers are willing to look at someone like that where there would be a significant drop in salary. There are times when it has worked well, because the reasons why someone would make that shift would either be to gain different experience or to come into a company that they've always wanted to work for and where they will grow from there. So there are cases, but it needs to be justified. Now, in anything around salary, remember that the stronger you come across right from the beginning through your CV or resume, your application, your interview process, the higher the perceived value, the better the offer that can be negotiated when it comes to that time. If, for example, 20 people sent their CVs through for the same role, and out of them, 19 are generic CVs, copy and paste of job descriptions, and there's nothing to distinguish them in the market, but the one candidate comes and there is clear indication of successes, quantifiable results, clear value add to the previous employers and to the market, of course, they will be in such a strong position to negotiate a higher salary. Similarly, if they handle it like that through the whole interview process, and the employer can clearly see that this individual has just distinguished themselves above the rest of the market, they will be willing to offer a higher salary for someone like that than someone who is just going to come and tick the boxes. So it's important how you position yourself for the role. And, if you do your homework properly in terms of researching the company and coming up with solutions to bottlenecks and problems and pains that they have, and making that clear for them, making it so attractive to bring you on board that they almost can't say no, you've positioned yourself strongly for a higher salary for the role. So if your salary was not disclosed upfront and you are in a first round interview, again, ideally, you do not want to disclose salary there. So should they ask you what you are earning at present, a good way for you to handle it would be to, I appreciate your question, but at this early stage of the process, what I really want to do is to get to know as much as I can about you and about the role, and obviously afford you the opportunity to also get to know me and see whether I would be a good fit for your environment, for your team, and for your role. And once both parties feel that this would be a good fit and we proceed in the process, then we can go into specific numbers for the role. That gives you the opportunity, as well as the employer, the opportunity to consider everything that happened in that interview. And it gives you the opportunity to position yourself strongly for the role so that when it then does come to salary discussions, again, they know why they would be offering you more than someone else for that role, or why you would be worth the kind of money that you would ideally want to earn for the role. Keep in mind, whatever you are asking for needs to be at least within reason. So if you are not close to that in terms of what you're earning at the moment, it must be very clear that you are worth that for them through previous initiatives or through the work that you've already done in presenting solutions to their problems. I'm thinking here of a case probably about 10, 12 years back where I represented a young chartered accountant, and he just completed his articles and signed off on his CA qualification here in South Africa. And he applied for a role and they liked him a lot, and they asked him, what do you want to earn? And he named a figure that was literally double the going market rate for his level of expertise and experience. And the client just said, thank you very much, and said, look, we will definitely not be making him an offer. And he came back to me and he said, no, but I was just joking. I thought, if you don't put something out there, you can't get that kind of money. And what it did for them, though, is once that number is named, it's very difficult to come back from that and retract from that and come with a much lower offer. So they didn't consider him for the role, even though he really wanted the role. And I then presented him to other roles. And about 3 months from there, he did accept an offer with the client. And this time he handled it with a little bit more wisdom. So make sure also that you don't do silly things that would just push you so completely out of the market that it doesn't make sense for employers. And for today's discussion, there's then one last thought I want to leave with you also. If you have worked with a hiring agency or with a recruiter and your salary has been disclosed before you go into the interview process. So normally from our side, because of the way the South African market works, we will present CVs with salary from the beginning. And in those cases, if the employer asks you, what would you like to earn? It is much better for you to refer back to what you are currently on, which is already on the CV, so it's no new news for them, and reconfirm what you are currently on. And then from there, say to them, look, it's obviously not about the money first. It is about fit and it is about opportunity. But of course, I would like to improve on what I currently am on. Or if you are close to a bonus payout or to an increase in salary, that you also make that clear for them. I'm on this salary now, but we are under reviews and my salary will be increased by potentially 10, 15% in the next 3 months. So make it clear that they kind of have an idea what they are working with. And again, there, remember, the stronger you establish your value to them through the interviews and through the resume that you submit up front, the better you are in a position to negotiate a more attractive offer. If you have any additional questions, feel free to post them in the comments below. I'll try and answer as accurately and as many as I can. And trust this has helped you with some of the ways in how to approach salary discussions in interviews.